7 women savagely beaten to death, and police say it was all the work of one angry man.
How many women did you kill?
I didn't kill no women.
Did you see the problem solver story?
Why'd you confess?
I didn't confess, they made me sign.
That's what Shelley Brooks is saying, but the cops say otherwise. They think Brooks is the monster the problem solvers dubbed the Mack Avenue Killer. Brooks has been charged with murdering 7 women, and cops say he's a suspect in many more. The 7, all drug-addicted prostitutes, were lured into vacant lots in abandoned buildings and bludgeoned to death. The motive? Investigators think it was Brooks' anger toward his mother.
We feel very strongly that one of the motives might be, as he felt that he was mistreated by his family and perhaps his mother, who was also allegedly addicted to drugs, that he was really killing his mother all over again.
The victims ranged in age from 30 to 53. Pamela Greer, found in an abandoned apartment building at Pennsylvania and St. Paul. Sandra Davis, found in the same building 5 months later. Rhonda Miles, found in an abandoned house on Manistee. Melissa Toston, found in a vacant garage at Chalmers and Flanders. An unidentified woman, Jane Doe, found in this house on Harding. Marion Daniels, found in this alley on Crane. And Thelma Johnson, found in a vacant lot at Mack and Holcomb. Here's a chilling twist. Thelma Johnson's body was found just a few hours after we aired our first story on the Mack Avenue Killer. We wondered, was the killer watching? It's a horrific trail of death we uncovered after a single phone call from a prostitute. This woman named Jada told me women were turning up dead and the police were doing nothing about it.
I date out here too, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be the next victim, okay? So it came to me to call you.
I started digging around and uncovered 7 prostitute murders in an area less than 2 miles square near Mack and Buick. Initially, police tried to throw cold water on my story, but I kept pushing. And after a lot of public pressure, the police finally established a task force in 2003.
We would not be standing here today if it had not been the groundswell of support from Fox 2 and Mack Alive, the community, and the churches on Mack Avenue.
The break came a few weeks ago when a prostitute who was beaten up survived to help police with this sketch. A tipster saw the picture on TV and led cops to Shelley Brooks. DNA has now connected him to at least 4 of the murders.
The arrest of Shelley Brooks has prevented the murders of many more victims because we really do not believe that he would have been stopped until he was caught.
Finally, there may be justice for all these women who were stalked and brutally murdered. While you might disagree with their lifestyle, they were somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter. The problem solvers didn't want their deaths to go unpunished. People on the street told me from the get-go they thought the killer was someone from the neighborhood, and Brooks lived on Garland Street within walking distance of where most of the bodies were found. He's being held without bond, and investigators are still trying to connect him to as many as 7 other murders with similar MOs. Scott Lewis, Fox 2 News.
Just knowing that their mama laid there and rotted somewhere and nobody couldn't find her, nobody didn't know she was there.
Last April, the body of Marion Daniels arrived at the Wayne County morgue, a mother of 4 savagely murdered. So why is the family just now holding a memorial service? Because they didn't know she was dead.
And she was down in the morgue 6.5 months while the police did nothing.
That's right. Detroit homicide cops never even contacted the family.
We're feeling like that she didn't count or that she doesn't matter.
She'd still be in the morgue if not for the problem solvers.
You guys find her. You came here. Something led you guys to here.
And Marion Daniels is just one case. You'll hear about a series of murders, cases that raise questions about the performance of Detroit homicide cops. You'll hear how they lost track of some cases, barely investigated others, and left a neighborhood in fear. Wait till you see how many women have turned up dead in a small section of Detroit's east side. Marion Daniels, found partially nude in this alley, died from blows to the head. Annette Smith, found nude in this vacant house, died from blows to the head. Pamela Greer and Sandra Cornish, found nude months apart in this vacant building. Both died from blows to the head. Cordelia Cornell, found under this tree, died from stab wounds to the chest. Geneva Williams, found on this porch, died from stab wounds to the chest. And Letitia Wilson, found nude in an abandoned building since torn down, died from strangulation. 7 women murdered, 6 of them in the last 2 years. That's a lot of bodies.
Tell me what is going on in big city.
The victims, all street girls, crack addicts, and prostitutes. And look at how close together the bodies were found. 7 brutal killings in less than 2 square miles, and a possible number 8. Portia Hill, another street girl, found dead in this alley, nude on top, pants around her ankles. Her death ruled accidental cocaine abuse. Cocaine abuse? Not so fast.
They didn't think that the injury to the neck had something to do with this?
When you hear the full story on Portia Hill, you'll wonder, is it another murder overlooked? More on that later. Right now, let me tell you why the problem solvers are poking around on these murders. It started last July with a phone call from this woman. She and other prostitutes feared a serial killer was on the loose.
I date out here too, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be the next victim.
Police come out and all they do, they take the bodies away, and that's that. You hear nothing else.
The prostitutes gave me street names and locations. I took the information to Inspector Craig Schwartz, the head of Detroit Homicide. His response? Murders? What murders?
We came up with no records of murders that corresponded to those street names nor to the locations that you had given me.
He insisted there were only 3 prostitute murders in the area, not 7 or 8. So I started wondering, what's going on here? Are these street people imagining things? Or are homicide cops so sloppy they can't even keep track of murder cases? Worse yet, could they be covering up, hoping I'll fold my tent and go away?
They don't even look at us as people. They just look at us as a menace to the neighborhood, nothing else. So for one of us to disappear, it's no big deal to me.
I wasn't going away. I went to work and dug deeper.
She was found right here.
I put a lot of miles on my Doc Martens, knocking on doors, working street sources.
She was murdered. There's no ifs, no buts about it.
I found witnesses to the murders that the cops told me never happened. I'm from Fox 2. I'm doing a story on the murder that happened back in the alley.
Oh, yeah, it's a while ago.
The kind of gumshoe work homicide detectives should be doing.
They asked the first day, and they didn't.
Using Michigan's open records law, I got autopsy reports and other records. I confirmed the names, dates, and locations of all 7 murders, including these 3 cops said they had no record of.
You know, it's a damn shame when Fox 2, the problem solvers, had to do the police job and they couldn't do their own job.
How else can you explain what happened to Marion Daniels? Remember, she laid in the morgue for 6 months. Police didn't even know her right name. The first thing you do on any murder case is identify the victim. Then you talk to their family and other people who are close to them. Cops never talked to Marion Daniels' family or her live-in boyfriend. And get this, once I got some information that they had all along, it took me only 45 minutes to track down the family. Why couldn't the police do it in a half a year?
And it should concern everyone because, I mean, who are they to choose who matters and who doesn't?
And don't forget Portia Hill. Is this a murder swept under the rug? Remember, she was found in an alley with her pants around her ankles. Look at the police report. 2 cops at the scene wrote it up as a homicide. But the medical examiner ruled it a cocaine death, and the case was closed. Maybe police should have pushed harder.
I've got the investigator's report, some crime scene photos, the police report.
I asked Dr. Werner Spitz, one of the nation's most respected experts, to review the case.
Right now, I would say it's a homicide unless proven otherwise. What I see here does not exclude the homicide.
The autopsy report says there was no trauma to the body.
There's an injury here too on the neck.
And Spitz found more injuries to the mouth.
So somebody might have popped her in the mouth.
Well, yeah, sure.
Her autopsy report lists cocaine abuse as the cause of death, but Spitz says it was a recreational amount of cocaine.
Before I'd put my bet on cocaine, I'd put my bet on strangulation.
Could Portia Hill be victim number 8 in a string of unsolved killings? Why were the cops so willing to accept this as a cocaine death? Dr. Spitz has his opinion.
They love it when they go to the morgue and the medical examiner tells them, oh, there's cocaine overdose. Oh, that's jubilation for the cops. Do you know how many hours of work this is to work this up as a homicide?